Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome to another, I don't know where this goes. It's not an It Came From the Workbench. We are semi-fresh off of a Quickview. Pardon me. Refreshed Susan. Pardon me, Susan. We are reasonably fresh off of the Quickview of this gentleman who still fills me with giddy giggles every time I look at it. It's so good. And it has, I think, everything that need be done to it, save for we need a gentleman right here. And I am still cruising and perusing, and it's got to be just right. Like, I will see it, and I will know that that is the guy. The really inexpensive figures, I don't like the looks of them. But at the same time, I don't want to spend $80 on a driver figure because that seems bonkers. I have a price in mind. I have the look of a guy in mind, and when I find that guy, he's going right there, and then I will consider this thing will be effectively complete. You will notice it is we can go very slow. We will get to the very slowness in a moment. As I said, I think it has everything it needs underneath. We are fortunate in that it comes fitted with 90mm shocks. These shocks right here, 90mm eye to eye. They have a 72mm long, 18mm ID spring, which is pretty wild. But they are 1.5 pounds an inch. And you will notice this. You hear the squidgy? Little squidgy? They are full of mineral oil and provide effectively no damping. There's no damping control at all. There's also they're all plastic. They're all plastic. They don't appear to be leaky. None of them have any juiciness on the outside. But if we're 90mm eye to eye, I don't see any need to fuss with this. We have bins full of 90mm shocks. I was just going to put a set of Desert Lizards on here, but the currently unoccupied Desert Lizards I have are these. And I don't know. I'm not seeing the electric green under there. So in the very same little drawer that those Desert Lizards are living is a set of... Oh, we can just do it this way. I have this. Which will remind me to mention something else, which is this. These are Red Cat Ascent shocks. They are completely rebuilt, as I did at the time, completely rebuilt with all Traxxas internals, Traxxas pistons, Traxxas shafts. No, these might be the Red Cat shafts. They are 90mm eye to eye. These are the secondary springs. You know, if you get a set of faux Dravtex from AliExpress or Amazon, they come with a set of 1.2 and a set of 2 pound. These are the 2 pound. It's all Traxxas X seals in there and everything. Mounted them upside down, and they feel great. Also, I should point out, I already put it away. The shocks that they come with, we'll pop this apart. Stay. Have a massive external limiter. Like, there's how much suspension action you can get. So now we've got maybe too much flex. When I saw how much less restriction there was in the system, I was like, we're going up on spring rate. So we went up from 1.5 to 2 pounds, which I think will be fine as this, as it sits before you right here in this exact outfit, is 4.5 pounds. Now, when you pick it up, I guess because muscle memory, without the body, 4.5, it doesn't feel like it weighs anything. There's really nothing to this that I honestly, I'm trying to figure out where the 4.5 pounds is coming from. There's nothing there. It feels like my brain goes, oh, that's like 2-3 pounds. Scale tells us different, 4.5. This is indeed 2 pounds. But when I pick this up, My brain tells me this weighs basically the same that this does, and it's less than half. So we're at 6.5 pounds, close enough as to be approximated to 2,900 grams, which I think is fine, especially when you're considering a body that, once it's got a driver in it, it's going to be a kilo of body. And again, not as heavy as I thought it would be. I thought we were looking at 3 pounds, and it's not a spare. It's just another one of the tires. It's a fifth tire. So with no weight savings efforts made, nor would I make any, 2 pounds for the body and 4.5 pounds for the RTR powered up chassis, it seems fine to me. There is a fusion in place there, and despite my frequent and constant recommendations of, if you're getting an SE, 1,200 for straight axles, 1,800 for portals, this is an 1,800 because we've got a little, here's how it works. Shaft comes out, 14-tooth pinion. Right above that is a 26-tooth gear that is on a shaft, comes back. There's a 16-tooth gear, and then right below that is what is officially the spur gear, which is 42 teeth. I think I counted these all correctly. They are all encrusted with a lot of grease. So that is close enough as to be 4.9 to 1 in the gearbox. That's fine. We're good with that. Some are higher, some are lower. 4.9 is fine for a non-3-gear gearbox. The transfer case, I did a far less scientific method, which was I rotated the wheels until both of the set screws were facing up, and then I rotated it until they lined back up again. And it's just under 2 to 1 in the T-case. For purposes of this, we're calling it 1.9 to 1. So you've got about, by the time you get to the drive shafts, it's 10 revolutions of the motor for 1 revolution of the drive shafts. We're going to call it about 10 to 1. If we have a typical ratio out here of that 3.75 to 1, 3.5 to 1 of an 830, which is what we'll typically see in a ring and pinion, we're looking at a final drive in that 35 to 1 to 40 to 1 neighborhood. Ordinarily, I would say 1,200 for that all day. But this is unquestionably not even a trail truck. This is a scale truck. And I think we can benefit from a little bit more wheel speed out in the open. The 14-tooth pinion is also absolutely as small as you can go. The adjustment slots for the pinion are 5 millimeters tall, and you just put it, it's nice. I didn't want to change the pinion because you just push it all the way up, and then you know that the mesh is correct. It's nice and quiet. I mean, it is properly quiet. That weird noise, it's something with the tires. When you give it the goose with no wheels and tires attached, it is quiet. And I was absolutely fine with the form factor, but this is a VT1 because then we can set endpoints. If you remember the Quickview, it had the turning circle of a container ship, and it's absolutely fine now. This is a 25 kg Amazon servo, the like $12, $15. I'm absolutely fine with that amount of speed. I don't think that this, when I picked that up, that's not 4.5 pounds. I don't see any need for any more speed nor torque than that. I was digging through the bin. I was going to put an Amazon blue case in it. Realized I had 4 Amazon red cases and was like, no, we're just going to put a red case in there. Dug around the bins looking for a battery tray to replace this one, which is clearly for a 2S or a 3S hard case. Found this little piece of carbon fiber on there. Just slapped it on through the existing holes because this guy, as I mentioned, there's no room. There's the tunnel right here, what would be a transmission tunnel, and you have to fit this and this under it. If you try to route your wires on that side, the body doesn't want to go down. So you kind of gotta, and I need to get one more zip tie on that so that the wires aren't trying to get the little tiny wee mini drive shaft that goes from the transmission to the transfer case. So there's no room under here. It is very low down, which is how you get a flat floor. So that is the extent of the replacement of electronics. I went to basically the same exact form factor radio. This is the bottom of the radio that came with this. I just disconnected it and clicked them together. We now have, because we have adjustable endpoints, we now have full steer. It has a reasonable turning circle now. I run everything on little 3S's. This is nice. I like this tray because I can wiggle the body, the battery around so that everything fits under the body nicely when you set it down. And yeah, shocks, fusion, servo, radio with endpoint adjustment, any radio with endpoint adjustment. And I think that's it. I don't know of anything else that I would require be done. What did I forget to mention? Oh, yes. So, if there is something RTR is ready to replace, aka ready to rebuild, and in the case of this guy, that applies strongly to the drive shafts. The drive shafts were fitted to the vehicle, flipped 180 degrees from that, so that the slidey bit was down at the bottom and the solid bit was up at the top. Maybe that's not in the instructions on the RTR line, on the RTR assembly line, whatever it be. I strongly, strongly, strongly prefer this below so that this doesn't get into the rocks and get chewed up. I don't even consider that a personal preference thing. When I mount every drive shaft, the spliny part goes at the gearbox end and the solid part goes at the axle end. But more importantly, this screw, this M3x10 cap head, is the screw that attaches the metal part of the CVD into the plastic part, and 10 millimeters is too long. So it would bottom out in this, and then you could shimmy the plastic part back and forth, and that little collar would go beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. The shafts are basically the perfect length, so they're not going to fall off. But it will eventually develop slop because you can't tighten it down all the way. So just take your 10s out, put 8s in. I didn't notice it at first. I didn't notice it until I was doing the motor work and stuff. This angle would ordinarily concern me, but that is where the servo goes, and there's nothing we can do about it. So it just sticks out in the front. Also, the panhard on mine came attached on the driver's side, which the panhard only goes on the the panhard only goes on the driver's side if the chassis side attachment for the panhard, did I say panhard? The front upper link comes on the driver's side, and the panhard is attached on the chassis at the driver's side, which is backwards. Luckily, the front end is fully symmetrical. We have no bump steer. The link lengths appear to be correct. It's at ride height, it's about right. It's got a tiny little bit of axle swing to one side, but no bump steer at all. You just take 2 screws out, you flip it over to the other side, and you put it on the side that it's supposed to be on. The upper link goes on the driver's side if the chassis mount for this is on the passenger side, which you cannot do. The servo mount has the holes that the panhard attaches to right there, and you couldn't flip it over to the other side. So, it's basically what's underneath what I presume to be all the Rock Hobby / FMS 10th scales. The Atlas is the same stuff underneath, only it has like fenders and stuff, so it's a lot more crowded. This is a lot less crowded. It's very easy to work on. It's very robust. I like things like, I think more companies should be using flatheads that recess in like that. That's nice. We've got good link geometry. I think that's why it's kind of so fun / rewarding to tool around with, even though in its factory configuration it's not the most capable. I think this collection and collaboration of parts is going to improve the drivability of it immensely. And I loved it before, so I don't think we will be disappointed. And also, we're going to do a little thing. We're going to grab, see down there? Where the bag? We need the bag. we need our man the bag. We need our man the torque wrench. Yes, because someone in the comments, thank you people of the comments, someone in the comments said, what about the Injora 117 grams, aka these, which have that very mil-spec Humvee look to them. And these are the wheels, tires, and setup from Kronk, which just happen to have some landmines on them, which are the same height, but just bigger, and are significantly heavier. These are shimmed Injora greens, which should be just about perfect for the weight of this gent. So what we're going to do is we're going to tool him around just like this, which is the way he looks the best. I have removed his wheel covers so that we can easily get the lug nuts off. And then we're going to pop these on there, and we're going to see how he does on some landmines. And I think landmines will look nice with the Jeep. These are landmines from a Jeep. So that's what we're going to do. I already love the look of it. And the level of performance, to me, is distantly second. So if we have a modest improvement, I will be over the moon. And because we will have achieved a modest or immodest level of performance increase without sacrificing, and that's the battery plug. It moves over just a little, just give it a little push, drops right down. We will have achieved that without sacrificing any of the cosmetics. I don't even consider the landmines on there a huge sacrifice of the cosmetics. I think with that wheel, that lines right up. I think it'll still be a pretty good look. I'm going to have to, I got to plug in the steering wheel and the lights. But we'll get this other one on. And I did wiggle it just a little bit to see how it felt on the 2-pounders. Yeah, we're still there. And with the body on, you can see now we've got, it's not an extreme amount of flex. We're looking at 70 millimeters, 75 millimeters, aka 3 inches, thereabouts. That, to me, that seems perfect. It had far too little flex before. I think it's 300 CST in the shocks. It's been too long since I filled them, so I don't know. But I think we're in for another day of the, where are they? It uses monstrous body clips for the back because they are infuriating to get in and out. I think everything is going to get better. The rocks are the ultimate determiner of that. The course is the ultimate determiner of that. So, let's take our boy the Jeep. I do love the idea of naming it Lieutenant Dan. But I think the name is going to come a little more organically when we figure out who's going to sit here. So, I will meet you outside, and we will see if it still fills me with a childlike / nostalgic glee with that few other toy cars have done. For absolute fun times, I would like to combine segments here. The first segment is about 450 feet to my right is a gentleman with what has to be a jet engine mounted to his back. I know that it's a leaf blower, but it's the loudest leaf blower that I've ever heard. And if I know anything about gentlemen with leaf blowers on their backs, it's that they want to use it until it runs out of fuel. So we get to carry that with us. The combination segment with that is notes from the drive. From the drive back, I rolled this Jeep immediately upon exiting the workshop because I had previously not driven it on a Fusion, on the shot, on everything, on every change that we made. And I think the big stinger was steering angle. They limited this to the turning circle of the aforementioned container ship because these skinny boys, they will hook and then you will flip. And I wasn't even going that fast. I just went to full lock on the pavers outside my workshop and straight over onto the roof. So we will be a little careful about that. Also, the 35 turn 550 sealed can rock hobby, basically just a Johnson or whoever, very low dollar sealed can 550. There is no comparison between it and a Fusion 1800. The speed is not overwhelming. The open ground speed is probably just about right. Yes, it's more brisk than a walk, but for rock crawlers is where I aim at a walk. Yeah, there is a fidelity here. The tire is still, it's the same tire that it was before. But I had mentioned in the last one, I didn't expect the tires to be able to get as far as they did before. Yeah, that steering angle is dangerous. Dangerous, because those tires, we have found, is there a potential for a tire that is too skinny? Yes. So these tires bring with them scale accuracy and danger. What did I just snap off? The axe. Oh, that. Okay, so those little dudes that are on the back bumper below the fuel tank, I know that I don't want to. Oh, that I don't want to make sacrifices. That the one that says 82-12 and his gentleman, is that an I? I feel like I'm taking an eye test. That's either 1-397 or I-397. They are so close to the ground that I would be very tempted to snip those off. Yeah, the little strappy that holds on the axe has gotten very loose, so the axe just kind of poked out. The approach is acceptable. The breakover is acceptable. The power delivery now is obviously fantastic, but that departure angle is not great. Not great. Those things hang, and they're only brought about by that one thing. You know what? Let me look. What is the rear bumper, which has quite a bit of a drop to it? What is the rear bumper affixed by? I just want to, okay, I'm not trying to kill the cosmetics. I just want to see. The answer is a pair of flathead M3x20s, and oh yeah. Yeah. We're augured in if the bumper is still. Look at this. What, you know what we're doing? I don't know if it's striking you as much as it's striking me, folks. We're rock crawling. Now, of course, the what limitation are we meeting? Skinny winny tires, but they look so good. Oh, look at we have suspension now. We have just the right amount of flex. We have an underlying concern that I just had pop into my head right now, which is it's partly cloudy outside. Let's angle up to frame a little better. You will notice that the three front lights are relatively bright, because without even thinking, when I had the program box plugged into the Fusion, I set it to 7.4 volts. All of the electronics should be able to handle that. The servo, etc., the receiver. I think the receiver can handle up to like 15 or 18 volts, something like that. LEDs are very specific about how much voltage they want. These do seem about 25% brighter than they were before. I am hoping I do not burn out the LEDs by having them set to 7.4 volts instead of 6 volts. But I like the servo response. Also, the servo that controls the steering wheel, probably only rated to 6 volts. Oh, Fusion creep. Let's see if it unloads on us. 2-pound springs on those should be great. This is rock crawling. Woo! And see, the front, that front bumper is fine. it cannot move back any more than it is because we would put a tire into. Maybe it could go back one hole if it is adjustable, but it is mounted to the body, so I do not think that it is adjustable. It is the one object that I worry most about snapping off, but the way that it is attached to the body seems like something that would be relatively easy to repair. So we have look at this. We can turn in. And I feel the tire now. Now, even if I were out casually rock crawling, I would be tempted, and I say this from a position of absolute ignorance as the landmines are sitting behind me, so I don't know. I say that, like, watching it sit there in its delightful three-wheel motion, I say the look of it is so good that I want to change. But I state that sitting here having not fitted the landmines, and the landmines might be such an increase in performance that I would say I will never look at those other tires again. Yeah. Yes, there is a definite increase in stability, a much welcomed increase in stability. It just, the width of the vehicle relative to the width of the tire, yeah, 100% scale accuracy, but man, you will pay the price of those tires every time you transition off of a flat surface. Like, we can just, there's nothing to carry us over. And by going to a stiffer spring, if anything, the body should be a little higher. I mean, it doesn't do anything to the pumpkins, and I think that's mostly what's getting hung up. And I don't mind, while it does not belong to me, yes, I don't mind scratching this one up. Because, well, I don't mind scratching any of them up. But I particularly don't mind scratching this one up because the more scratched up it is, the less shine is on this thing, the better it's, as far as I'm concerned, the better it's going to look. It needs some battle scars on it. Like, the dirtier the tires get, the more I like it. Let's whistle around a little at another obstacle, and I want to show you turning circle on the flat, and then we will just go ahead and slap some landmines on it. I'm trying to get what feels like a decent framing. So you remember before we were over there between two of the Montanas, and this thing could barely make it around? Well, we've got not the tightest turning circle in the world, but if we will reward it with the fact that it is 1/6 scale, let's call it 1/6 scale, despite the 324 millimeter wheelbase, that's pretty good. We're sub 6 feet now, so it is definitely, and there's no, I've made no changes to links, hard parts, none of that. We replaced the servo. The servo that comes out of it, the Rock Hobby, I neglected to mention inside, is the lightest Metal Gear servo I've ever felt. Ever. It feels like it's going to float away. So I sincerely doubt that the internals in it are of the most robust nature. Yeah, because of the tire, you've definitely got to use some gusto. Here's the real problem that we're having today. Whew. It's that rear bumper being gone. Cosmetically, I'm not really noticing it from this distance. But performance-wise, wow. It might be the biggest change that I've made to this thing. Like, the Fusion is great. The radio still, the VT1 has the same trigger feel and wheel feel that we had on that Rock Hobby. Whoever the OE is, it's probably Dumbo, probably. This is a great radio. The VT1 is my top tier RTR OE radio. It does the things. It has endpoint adjustment. Trigger feels good. Wheel feels good. That is nice. The Fusion is nice, but that bumper being gone, like right now, we would be completely hung on the rear bumper. And instead, we're just rewarded with the fact that the tires don't really have enough grab to keep us, or do they? Woo! It's still, yeah, by virtue of that body, right there, okay, right there, in any other rock crawler, that's nothing, right? I feel nothing about that. In this, I see it, ba-boom, 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 and like snapping the steering wheel off. Oh, no, I can't do it. So, if I have to get up and walk over there, I might as well just take the 30 seconds and slap different tires on it. What I had forgotten about this particular set of wheels is that they are effectively maximum positive offset. Not maximum, near maximum positive offset, which is the hex is all the way at the front face of the wheel. So we are substantially narrower. If it is 8 inches from outside of tire to outside of tire, I would be amazed. I don't think it's even that. And because their offset is so positive, the knuckles are definitely rubbing on the inside of the tires. So not to the point of binding, but definitely to the point of wear your rubber down. And it's fantastic that I already had these in Jordas. I think there's probably enough meat on the stubs that I could go to a wide hex and run this sort of wheel, but I don't think it's explicitly necessary. I think any of the stamped steel, like what I run, I have them on a couple of vehicles, the stamped steel wheels in black, I think would look tremendous. I was worried that the 1.9s were gonna look way too small, but oddly, they kind of don't. It just makes the rig look a little bit smaller scale. I can definitely feel the little bit of bind in the front. Okay, this is and will be the iffiest thing that we do in this. I want that front to settle down. There's so much grip in the landmine compared to the factory tire. Ooh, we're getting stuck. Oh, it is really, 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 really light in the nose. Oh, that's the best thing I'm gonna see all day. We're stuck on the axe. Get through. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Someone, again, we harken back to the comments. Someone in the comments said, change the motor, put on different tires, you'll be blown away. I feel the surprise coming back because the Atlas did the same thing. We put the IROX on the Atlas and I was like, oh, it's a SCrAwLER. It's a scale crawler. This is beyond that. This is even more of a SCrAwLER because it is absolutely scale, but it can also do the thing. This, because of that width, look at that fusion-y descent. We still get some auger in the back. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I said that I wouldn't. I said that I couldn't, and that I didn't, and that I wouldn't. But I think I might kind of love the look of that. You know, I don't know. I like it. Is it me? Let's take a closer look. Like, is it me, or does that look good? Does it look good? Do we just need to go to 1.9s? Because I think it still looks fantastic. Just the amount of performance increase off of putting that tire on is immeasurable, one might say, and so narrow. I want to see if I have any rub marks on the insides of the tire. That is, I mean, I can hear it a little. All right, it doesn't look like it's going to do it any harm, but like up close, look at the width. Look how narrow that is. I'm kind of all right with it. They don't look oddly small. Or alternately, could it get away with a little bit bigger of a tire? Could it get away with like that 5, like an L? Could it get away with like an LP size tire, like a 5 1/4? Oh yeah, the stability now. Look how flat that is. This is definitely more usable. I think it's lost a little bit of its scale delightfulness, but I think it might be something that and again, this is in the hands of the owner more than myself, but I think that's a sacrifice I would be willing to make. Like a little modded. That little extra squidgy torque twist, that's just the little bit of interference in the front from the inside of the tire. So this wheel is too narrow. We need something at about maybe a neutral offset, something in the middle. If the stubs were a bit longer, I would think we could extend it out a little bit. I don't want to go too wide. I do like the look of the tire. I would maybe just want the rear tire out flush with the fender. So we're talking 5 to 7 millimeters per side. Not super wide. Landmines also look good on here. I think any sort of a chunky lug is going to look good. And let's not forget 117 grams per wheel, Injora inserts, which are 70 grams per wheel. So we've gone from the skinny tall to something in the neighborhood of kilo of wheelos, which means that now the wheel tire insert combo is in the neighborhood of what the body weighs. And I think that, again, net sum goods are just raining down from the heavens, and that each change we make seems to be a total positive. You know what I want to do? I want to do something dumb. I mean, why not? Why wouldn't we? Gate 1 is particularly difficult. For those following the saga of the Canyon Gate, we have instituted what was suggested in the comments. A gentleman in the comments said that in their comp series, they do a different color marker for either side. So I said, I've got yellow golf balls, and I know a gentleman that can provide me with white golf balls. So now the white golf ball goes on the right. White is on the right. So that's how you know which direction to progress through the gates. If you're progressing through the gates correctly, the white ball is on the right side of the vehicle. We definitely pushed over. So is anyone here surprised that this can't quite manage the same lines baseline can? I am not. I am not surprised. We have already ejected the one from the one side, and yeah. The problem that we are having right here, I can tell you, is this is categorically the opposite of what sliders do. This is an instance where the tires are so far inside the body that, like right there, you can't see the side out of camera. It might be in the other camera. The axe and shovel are just buried into the ground because there should be tire on that low side pushing it up a little. So the offset of these, the wheel looks great, but I mean, to me at a distance, they just look like black discs. So I think any black wheel will work. It doesn't need all the little molded detail on it. So we will see. We will see how we progress over time in terms of exchanging some of the cosmetic beauties. I'm starting, until I look and see the spare tire on the back, I'm kind of getting used to the wheel and tire. I don't know. Somebody's probably going to be like, nope, don't do it. And I get that. The other wheels look the part 100%. I feel like this doesn't look too visually upsetting. I don't think he can pass that side. There's no ball on this side. Yeah, the approach is pretty good, and the departure is pretty good now. Now it just moves. Everything just moves. So it's breakover now that suffers. Oh, bouncing this hurts the soul. Yeah. Again, you can see right there, axe and shovel buried. Tire can't touch, tire too skinny. So we're basically just sitting on the rockers. You know what? I still love it. I still absolutely, I am still enamored with it. and I am making every effort to avoid the temptation. When it sits right there, you almost can't see the rear tires. They just disappear under the body. So we've got a rim that's too narrow. We've got a vehicle that is so much fun. Still, it's still a time machine. Leaf blowers, leaf blowing again. What a fantastic morning to come out here and drive a beautiful Jeep. I mean, this is the type of thing that you look at it and you go, oh yeah, this is absolutely the vehicle that you should discontinue so that you can bring us some other thing that looks like everything else. This thing's great, and I hope that it isn't ruined. I mean, as soon as I walk back over to the bench, I'm going to put the original tires back on it because Kronk needs his wheels and tires back. But isn't it great? It's so great. It's gonna be a shame to see it leave. It's a shame to see you all leave, but I gotta, as a woman from Texas would say, I gotta let you go. So I'm gonna thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna invite you one and all that in between now and when we meet again to one and all do your very best to have a good one, everybody. I will see you next time again here from the Canyon. Who knows what we'll be doing? Who knows? Not even the shadow. That is a reference for old people. I will see you all next time.